What's up, y'all?
I'm with my nephew, special guest.
Wiki.
So, what are we talking about today, babe? What are we talking about today?
You wanted to talk about breakups.
No.
Or what was it? Was it cheating?
Cheating.
Yeah. Same thing, it leads to breakups.
It leads to, yeah, I was going to say it's a prerequisite, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, well, you're the one that brought up the story about it, so why don't you lead it off?
Okay. So, the reason why this is a subject is because, one of the girls that I follow, she's going through it right now, right? But this is common for a lot of women, and I've talked about this before, where I say our biggest fear is to have our dudes cheat on us, right? It's not just the dudes in there; it's the people on the outside too. It's the women that also cheat. We've been through that. Me and my husband have been together for how long, babe?
20 years.
So we did take our moments where we were in different relationships, and so take our space, if you will. But at some point, we all have to take accountability for the things that we do, right? So I'll be honest, and when we were younger, and I can't really just blame it on being younger, but me and my husband had an agreement when we had our daughter. Do you want to say what the agreement was, babe? Or what you put on the table?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember no agreement, but I remember what I offered. I said, one, don't give your heart away. Two, don't get married. Three, don't shack up with nobody. Don't bring anybody around my kids. If it gets itchy, go ahead and go scratch it, but just be honest with you.
Okay. So.
And she said no.
I don't remember saying no because I was scratching itches, and that's where I was wrong. So when we first broke up, it was on me. Like, I stopped communicating with him. I walked away because I got caught up in one of the rules that he said not to do. And so a lot of people want to sit here and say it's just the guys that fuck up, you know what I mean? It's not. Like, us women too, on our end, we got to take responsibility for it's everybody. Everybody got to take responsibility for what they do. I know back then, it might sound like an excuse and stuff, but I was young and dumb. I was going through a lot of shit. I had 3 young kids. I was into partying. Like, that was my whole life, was just being out and being in the clubs and partying all the time. You know what I mean? So with that kind of lifestyle, scratching itches is a part of that. You know what I mean? So I walked away at the beginning. I've been seeing a lot lately where the girls are breaking up with their loved ones because they're cheating. So me and my husband sat down and talked about that. And I was talking shit today at Visit, and he kind of reminded me that, even in my big age, I've made mistakes still. So at what point is it that you grow up?
My only thing was, because she sees, and don't get me wrong, a woman's going to side with a woman. It's what they do. Men side with men. It's what we do. But she just, when there's an issue, she automatically, well, look at how they are, this and that. And I get that. But I don't know the full story, but I automatically go to the side of, well, she's on this side, so she already has her mind made up. So I'm gonna defend on this side. And all my only issue was, I'm not saying it's right or wrong to have done it, whatever they had did. And I don't know their situation. I only know third and fourth hand information, and you still don't know the man's side of the story. But cheating's never. There's never a reason to cheat. If there's a problem in the relationship, then that's a wrap. Let's just cut ties and go about our way. Because otherwise, it's just gonna get toxic. And
hold up.
What?
Hold the fuck up. If there's a problem in your relationship, you're supposed to talk to your spouse or your other half and work it out you don't just walk away.
Well, but I'm saying, so we'll use me as an example. In my previous relationship, I didn't want to cut her loose because she was pregnant with my son. I didn't want to seem like I was cutting the relationship because I'm walking away because she was pregnant. I didn't want nobody to ever see me like that. So I stood in the relationship, even though I wasn't happy in the relationship, even though the relationship shouldn't even went that far. You know what I mean? So I stood into it and I cheated on her. I did that. You know what I mean? But later on, it takes me time to realize that I was a coward. I didn't talk to her, and I didn't just tell her, hey, look, it's not working. This is a wrap. This is what it is. I'll take care of my kid like this, and this. I didn't do that. So I took the other way out, and I did it this way. In that situation, we didn't talk. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. If there's a situation to where you can't talk it out, or something has happened, there's no reason to do no back and forth or to go to that extreme, and then it just gets ugly. Because there's people, like, for example, there's people who fell out with each other, whatever, and then they stay with each other. You know what I mean? Women in abusive relationships, they'll stay in an abusive relationship, get beat up, and stay with them and love them and stuff like that. And then there's those that even justify cheating because their man beat them up. You know what I mean? Well, if he beat you up, leave.
Men too will, you know, that's the thing too. Like, some men find themselves in that situation and just like, you know, like, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So that goes both ways. Which trips me out, you know, but it is like that, you know.
You do hear about it more often now too, babe, where the guy's getting abused. You hear about that more often now, where the guy's getting abused.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you know, a guy can whip a girl's ass, but there's some guys out there that'll just let the woman hit on them, and you know what I mean, and then it gets worse and worse as it goes. So it's on both sides now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I said, like, everybody's quick to are the girls, I guess. I don't know what you want to say, but you know, the girls are quick to say it's always the guy, and that's why when we started this, I talked about when I did it. You know what I mean? Because I can't sit here and say that I've never done that. I was at a different point in my life. I was younger, I was dumb. That's what brought that conversation up, because, you know, the girl that I'm talking about, like, she did the most for him from what we seen, was always there, doing packages, just talked about him all the time, about everywhere. Everything was about him. Tatted everywhere with his name and stuff, you know what I mean? Was proud of him. And then come to find out he cheated. And now it's like, you know, I'm sorry, please take me back. I want my wife back. And I think at this big age, to me, it's like, fuck you. Like, we're old enough now to know, like, me and you, when we talked about it at Visit today, we've talked about cheating to death. You know what it would do to me if you did that, and I know what it would do to you. So at this point, it's not, oh, it's an accident, I shouldn't have did that. Like, it's a fucking choice.
It's premeditated, like murder.
Oh my God! Do you see how he goes to the extreme?
It's not an extreme though, you know.
That's an extreme.
It is kind of, I guess, but yeah, it's like you said, like the decision that you made in the situation you were in. You're like, that's how I'm gonna do it, because in that case it was. I see what you mean. It was it's a premeditated decision that you're making, you know. So I get that. I get why you know, like, view it that way, because that's how it is. Like, you're thinking about it ahead of time, almost like your body is thinking about it ahead of time. You know you're gonna do it. You're thinking about it ahead of time. It's how we are.
You got that build up. Your heart was pumping fast. You were excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, for me, it's like, I don't want that. Like, me and you've talked about it to death. So it's like, if you did make that choice to cheat on me, I don't want nothing to do with it anymore, because I should be your only choice. I'll never be okay with being somebody's second choice.
And you know what too is like a one of the bigger, I guess, just to throw it out there, because it's a dynamic that I think I've been with my, you know, I'm going to say wife. We're not like married under Uncle Sam necessarily, but you know, we have 2 kids. We've got a house. We've only known each other for the last just about 10 years. We're going on 8 years. And so I think one of the things that tripped me out too is, like, some people have such different definitions of what it means to be cheated on. Like, some people see it as something as simple as like flirting. Some
That's
people,
cheating.
some people, and that's fine. And I can agree. That's emotional infidelity. That's in a more nuanced terms. That's what that means. Emotional infidelity. You're flirting with somebody. What the fuck? I should be your only person you flirt with. You know, and I get that much. And same as you know, something as like more, I guess, I don't know what to call it, like secular is watching like pornography. That's cheating to some women.
I don't think that's cheating.
That's cheating to some women though. So that's a thing. It's like it's a matter of you know, that's where the basis of like what is your relationship.
I do believe that mental emotional infidelity though, because sometimes I think it's worse when it's mental and emotional, because
it's
connection that's tied up there. It's not like something that just happened physically and you gone about your way and you never see the person ever again. You know what I mean? There's something that's tied up.
And I talked about that one of our last when, you know, people give a shit about, oh, they can't cheat on you because they're in there. And I'm like, it's worse for me because emotional cheating is worse. You know what I mean? Like, yes, a fuck is a fuck, that comes and goes, and I'd still be pissed. But emotionally, like, you're making those soul ties, if you will. You're making those emotional ties.
Yeah. Because I remember somebody one time told me that they had a problem with having friends because they felt like, I built a connection with that person the same way I built with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I get that because that's kind of how it all starts. So you play that little back and forth. You know what I mean? It's that little dance, and then you get caught up in it, and then you're feeling each other. You know what I mean? And then it leads into whatever it leads into.
That's how it always starts.
Yeah, intention, and you know what's interesting about that too is like I gotta be honest. I don't want to be this guy to do this to like start turning into like I'm not a Bible beater. I grew up around the church. I grew up in both sides of Catholicism, Christianity. Okay, but you know, there's this aspect of temptation in the world, and that has to do with things like engaging with another person, engaging with another party that's, you know, giving a certain person attention or whatever. It's all based on your own intention. It's all based on your own temptation. And I see now, because like I don't like to, I guess I go back to thinking that way because I grew up around the church, like I said, so I can't help describing it this way. But there really is a value in learning about the definition of temptation, about the consequences of your own actions of temptation, and your intention in the world, and who you want to be and who you want to, you know. So all that stuff plays a role into how cheating is basically the failure of somebody to recognize that, do you want to throw away this probably like long bonded connection over the span of probably years, probably at least, even if it's just a few months. A lot of people are in love and they don't realize it, and then they throw it away because they don't realize that they're in a position where they probably should value it more. But not nobody, but most people don't kind of comprehend, you know, there's temptation playing in your mind right now. You know, there's that thought going on.
There's boundaries.
Yeah.
There's boundaries and everything. Like, people gotta understand there's boundaries. So, like, for example, what should be sacred to you, like in a relationship, right? Something that you share with this other person is between the two of you. You know what I mean? So when you start allowing that to be shared with other people, that's when the boundaries are starting to cross. So, like, for example, let's say you're friends with this female and she has a man, but then she starts talking to you in a way that she's sharing certain things about herself, let's say sexually or whatever, and maybe she just, you know, it's just talking or whatever.
It seems offhand.
She shouldn't open those doors.
Yeah.
Because that's crossing boundaries that should be just reserved for her man. You know what I mean? And she should never speak to somebody in a manner that she's not telling her man. And anything that she tells somebody else, she should be able to tell her man and let him know that and be okay with her with talking like that with her man there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And well put. On the same page.
Yeah. If you can't tell your man about what you're saying with somebody else, you shouldn't be saying it.
Exactly.
Period. And that goes both ways. If you shouldn't be saying something to other females.
Thank you for using.
I hate that. So it's kind of like I tell my kids that all the time. So like when my kids don't realize they're doing things wrong, I'm like, if you can't tell me, because I'm a pretty open parent, if you feel like you can't tell me what's going on, you already know it's wrong. Because why can't you tell me? My kids literally tell me, everything. So if you can't tell me something, it's something you shouldn't be doing, right? You know it's wrong because you can't tell me. So it's the same thing. Brandy said, anytime I've ever wanted to step out past relationships, it was premeditated. Never no accident because I am not a cheater, but the situation with my ex had me thinking that way. Yeah. So yeah.
What do you think? What does she mean by that? What do you think she means by that? I kind of don't get that. Never no accidents because I'm not sure about my situation with my ex. Had me thinking that way.
So it's kind of like what my honey said. Like he didn't want to be in that relationship, and so he was cheating on her because he didn't want to leave his first baby mama because she was pregnant with their son. He didn't want to be with her, but he didn't want to be looked at like he was
leaving her. And,
leaving her
with
pregnant.
this baby.
So he stood in a relationship he shouldn't have stood in.
Okay.
I think that's what she's kind of trying to say. Like, she had a fucked up situation. I don't know, Brandy. Is that what it is? Like you had a fucked up situation with your ex?
If you don't mind elaborate, you don't have to.
See,
exactly. Okay, cool. Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
so it had you
sense.
wanting to go that way, but
that
you should just walk away. And
but you know what? That's a matter. Isn't that a matter of self-preservation though? Like you're thinking that way. You're thinking like, hey, like I don't know, like I don't want to, shouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing. That's not. I don't know. I think that's where morality, people's morals come into play too. And that's the thing too. Like, that's a matter of temptation. Like I was bringing up earlier. Like your own morals depend on, like do I want to deal with this? Do I want to stay in this? Am I gonna put up with it or whatever? I think
that's a hard thing for a lot of people though, because they're like, you're in that relationship and it's hard to leave, and so you cheat, but you shouldn't cheat. You should walk away. That's what we were talking about today at Visit. Like, when is it that you grow up and you're like, hey, like, I know this is hard, but I gotta walk away. Like, I'd rather walk away than cheat on somebody.
I should have walked away because he was making me someone I wasn't. Yeah. And that's, that's doesn't get any clearer than that, really, because that, when like a person knows I don't want to be this. I don't want to feel like I'm not loved the way I should be loved. And that's really what it's all about. It's not so much about, I guess, I don't know. I don't mean to be going too deep talking about temptation and morals and all that. Everyone just wants to feel loved. At the base level, you want to feel love. You want to feel like you're given love that is worth your while and getting it. That's worth your while.
Yeah, because I feel like
get what you get in life, and especially when it comes to love. And if you don't feel like you're getting that, you're probably, you're going to feel a kind of way.
Yeah,
reasonably.
You're not getting what you're giving.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, it goes both ways, for sure.
And so my only thing with him when he said that, like when he was like, if there's a problem, just walk away because, you know what I mean?
Yeah, immediately you got on his ass. Like, God, that's funny. Because normally I just listen to it when you're like, wait. And you you like so strict, like not strict, but like you're so like authoritative. Yeah, like, but now I mean, in a sense, I get that. Like why.
Because he's coming
how
from
you heard it.
From his experience. Like he's talking about that experience. Yes, he wasn't happy. He didn't want to be with her. He should have told her and walked away instead of cheating. But he was young and he didn't want to be looked at a certain way. Yeah. In hindsight, it's always easier to be like, I should have did this. I should have did that. You know what I mean? But we're all wrong. We all play. That's what I talked to him about today. Like everybody plays a role in whatever happens in the situation. You can't just sit here and play victim and be like, oh, it was just he did this to me or she did that to me. You have to take responsibility for the fucking role you played in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what I did to him when we were younger was wrong. You know what I mean? And I came back and I apologized to him because at the end of the day, no matter what was going on between me and him, I should have never took his daughter.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, you guys have a lot more, I think, genuinely just growing up around you. This is my auntie's. This is more or less like a second mother to me.
That's my baby.
So, I mean, from what I understand, like they have a lot more clarity in their relationship than I see a lot of people that have relationships on the outside have. And that's, it's kind of, that's says a lot considering the circumstances. So, I don't know. I think overall it's more like, to acknowledge that and to work past it is kind of a testament of its own. But, I guess, I don't know, like how long until you guys started rekindling your marriage? Is that when you kind of like face a lot of that head on, I guess, like how things went. Because
no, like we talked
that's
about
youth. That's youth. Like
Yeah.
you said it yourself. You're youthful. You scratch that itch. Like that's
And
youth.
You know what I was going through back then, like
Yes.
always partying and like it was about my friends and like literally, not just.
But that's
I mean,
youth. There's a
yeah.
lot of. I have 2 toddlers now, but you think I don't want to go have a beer with my buddies in Old Chicago here and there on a Friday and watch some football and basketball? Like that's eventually I'll get to a point where I'm doing. Like you got the sublimation thing. I'm gonna be doing woodworking or whatever, and I'll kind of lose interest in that, I guess. But that's just like that's youth. That's youth. You want to go out and you want to hang out and stuff. And
But you're doing things
your
the
guys'
right way
case.
with your kids. I wasn't. Like I went through a divorce. I got together with my husband now, and we had our daughter. But during that time, like he was in prison, I was raising 3 young kids, a brand new baby by myself. I was in my early 20s, and I was a fucking mess. Like I'll be honest with you guys, I was a mess. All I worried about, I did take care of my kids during the day, but at nighttime it was partying with my friends. We literally went out Wednesday through Sunday. We only stayed home on Monday and Tuesdays. I was with my kids all day long. We put them to bed and then we'd go out. By the time they woke up, I was back home. You know what I mean? And I didn't just leave my kids with anybody because they were with my cousin or my mom and my brother. But
or with me, generally, we were gaming,
you were a little baby, you guys
gaming,
were always together
hanging
for-
out. Yeah, hanging out, playing video games. So I mean, you just see things differently,
Yeah.
when you're a kid, and like now being here, like on this kind of a topic of a stream in particular, especially, is like it's kind of it's a trip, but at the same time, this is real life. Yeah, that's how it goes. So.
So we brought up the past because the situation I've been seeing lately, like the situation with the girl, she did the most for this man. And you know what I mean? What I seen was the messages saying, I want my wife back. I'm sorry. I embarrassed you. You know what I mean? Like he knew what the fuck he was doing when he did it. You know what I mean? He made the choice to do what he was doing. So at what point do you grow up? And then my husband brought up, well, you did that too. Yeah, I did that, 17 years ago. And then, I've made some mistakes, in my big years too. But like, when do you take ownership of what you do? When do you admit, like, hey, I fucked up, and you know what I mean? And face it and apologize for the things that you do. You know what I mean? I think at this point, you can't say, oh, I know my wife's done all this shit and I cheated on her. I'm sorry, take me back. Nah, fuck you.
Yeah, that's kind of that's unfair.
Yeah.
That's unfair. That's
And
super
that,
unfair.
and he embarrassed the fuck out of her in front of everybody. Like
That is, yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't trust anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep telling you guys, like, our biggest fear as prison wives is that we're out here doing the most for them. You know what I mean? We give up a lot for them. And then to find out that you're being cheated on or you're being played. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing that we're scared of, and that is the most hurtful thing. You know what I mean? And I know sometimes I think my husband kind of gets upset with me because he's like, he hides things better than most, but I bring these things up like just happen and I kind of get emotional about it. You know what I mean? Because I'm scared of that. And he's like, I never gave you a reason to do that. You did that shit. You know what I mean? So I was like, let's talk about it, because it's not just the guys. You know, like we do hear about that, but I try to tell them too, even online, like the girls are blasted when they're caught cheating and fucking around with one guy in one prison, another guy in another prison, or even out here, get caught up cheating. Her dude walks in on her fucking somebody else. Like, it's not just the dudes.
That's brutal. I seen this video the other day. It's like, God, like it just, it makes you thankful when you find yourself somewhere secure in a relationship. Seems like where that's you and your husband are. I certainly feel that way in my relationship. But I seen this video the other day of this guy going to looked like a state fair or something, and he was doing this game where it's like, we're doing a game. Like, do you trust your significant other? We're going to give each other your phones, and you're going to go through their messages.
Oh,
Are you down to do that? And the guy did it. He gave this girlfriend his phone, and she's like going through, like, oh, it's his mom, it's his sister, it's his cousin. And then she was supposed to give the guy her phone, and she panicked and shut her phone off, and was like, oh, it died. He's like, bro, like, I just saw you shut your phone off. Like, I don't know. I mean, some people, and there were even comments saying, oh, it's staged or whatever, but whether it's staged or not, it's like, man, like
That happens.
that happens. And I couldn't imagine, you know, you got to have a little more self-respect than to kind of deal with any kind of uncomfortable vibe like that. Because the dude even told him ahead of time, like, hey man, like, she shut her phone off, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So and that's, you know, it's really what that's getting at, even at the base level, is like, you just want to feel like your time and your attention. Because I think that couple in the video had been together for over a year, and it's like, you know, that guy probably was gutted when that happened, and it's like, damn, like, you don't have the confidence to show me what your messages
Well,
are. It's like,
you know,
my wife,
cheating her.
yeah, exactly. She has some shit. She has some shit in there she shouldn't have had. And my wife on the regular grabs my phone to order shit from Amazon or whatever, or to like look up something or whatever, and it's like, you know, anything that is anything other than like being on point with each other, to be like, okay, yeah, it's not a big deal. And that's not even specifically a phone. It's everything. Like he was saying earlier, like with the whole, you know, emotional infidelity too is a big deal. That's a big one. And that's one that, you know,
It's a slippery
it's
slope.
a slippery slope, exactly. And it comes in the smallest waves, and also in each relationship is different. Like I said, for some people, flirting, that's cheating. I agree. You know, you shouldn't be flirting with nobody, you know, other than your significant other.
Yeah.
Some women view, like I said, women and men even view looking at even just like pornography as cheating. Okay, that's your relationship.
I
That's
know
your
that's
boundary.
a big debate because I don't look at that.
It is a big debate, and even I'm like, hey, like, what if, you know, you're just a human being and you just need? It's like to me, it's like, I'm on the fence about it because I can understand it being cheating, but at the same time, it's like, come on, like, this is not the same as cheating. You know, it's to me, it's not the same as cheating. I know. I'm just saying. I know, I get it, but at the same.
When you start saying something about porn, I'm like,
no.
My ears are turning red.
Hey, I just
said
said she looks at my phone on the regular, and I got nothing to worry about. So no, you know, but genuinely, you know, like there's a big difference between each individual relationship, but overall, there's a matter of, I think, self-respect that goes into every relationship that should be understood by each individual, and when it's not, that's when cheating happens. You know what I mean? That's when it starts to go down that slippery slope, like we said. You know. So.
And that's what I try to tell my husband too. Like, we talk about it because, as you guys,
Do you talk about it casually? Like casually, or you guys bring it up almost like to remind each other of each other's boundaries? Like, is that
No,
how you
so
talk about
like
it?
stuff that'll pop up. So like this girl going through what she's going through, like I'll tell him, like,
right.
you know,
Okay.
I feel bad for her. Like, that's what we're all scared of. Like, you know what I mean? And we start, so that's why the subject came up now, was because that's going on, right? And I was telling him, like, that's fucked up. Like, I see myself in her, but not, he's never done anything to me like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, that's what all of us are scared of. And it's hard to explain that without people judging you or being like, you're fucking dumb, or, you know, whatever. Because I get that sometimes. They're like, he's in prison, what can he do? Like, unless you're in the situation, you don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I seen one too, not too long ago, where, you know, a whole program got shut down in a state because one of the wives that I know, she's seen the guy's wife would go up with her and visit. You know, she's seen her all the time at visit. She was always there. The wife was always visiting. Her husband was fucking one of the employees. Right, and they got caught doing that, and it's like,
that blows my mind that I want to sit here right now with all of you viewers. I want to like sit here and be like, oh right, I guess you can see how that happens. It blows my mind that is like a situation that certain people find themselves.
And you would see it comes up more often than you would think. Like, a lot of
once is more often than you would think.
Yeah,
let's agree to that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
It's like, so this wife's going up there faithfully to see her husband, and then this bitch that's fucking her dude is in her face like, oh hi, how are you doing? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know, that's my husband. You know, I go up there and see him all the time, and you're fucking my husband. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
it's like, yeah. So that's this could go down all kinds of rabbit holes, but that's like a fear too. You know what I mean? Like, the whole cheating thing. And I tell him, like, if there ever comes a point where you're not happy and you don't want to be in this relationship, talk to me. Either we can try to work it out, or we can walk the fuck away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
don't cheat on me, dude, and don't do that. And I tell my husband all the time, like, don't stay with me because, you know, I do everything for you. Stay with me
Yeah, I was
because you
gonna
love me.
I was gonna ask earlier, like that person that found themselves in that situation, that girl, like I can only imagine that the husband was more like, or the boyfriend, whatever, was more like, oh no, I lost out on my care packages.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's the
Cool.
thing that I was telling my husband too. Like, don't ever stay with
It's-
me because I do for you.
Yeah, if it's based in what can you do for me lately, it's toxic. You know, it's a little toxic. You know.
I hate how long these fucking things take.
I hate that it was 5 and now it's 1.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Honey,
Yeah.
okay. So we're still talking. Hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
You want to come say happy birthday?
Yeah, happy birthday.
It's my great nephew's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Come here. Want to say hi,
Can you say hi to the
everybody?
camera?
Yeah.
Say happy
He-
birthday to Thomas.
He's here. He's here now, bro.
Happy birthday, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 4.
You're 4 years old.
Wow.
Santi's big boy.
Get big.
You want a cupcake?
Yeah.
Is that what you came in here for the birthday? You came in because we're in the room with all the cupcakes.
Yeah.
So they
the
have this
jackpot room.
they have this black frosting in his little face earlier. It had black all on
Yeah.
his face. It was funny.
Yeah, he looked like a goth.
It looked like he was rolling around in dirt.
Yeah. I want to give him that some
Okay.
use restroom.
We were just talking about, like, my nephew said, like, you know, what if that guy was like, what, damn, I lost my packages, you know, because that's what she was doing for him. And I was just saying, like, I told you, like, I never want you to be with me because I do for you. I want you to be with me because you love me. Thank you, Stella. So, Brandy, did I read to you what, I think I read what Brandy put after you hung up, baby. But Brandy said,
Nobody called.
huh?
Nobody messaged or nothing when I was on.
Okay, so Petunia said, married lifers. Brandy said, anytime I ever wanted to step out, past relationship, it was premeditated. Never no accident because I am not a cheater, but the situation with my ex had me thinking that way. So she's talking about like your kind of, not exactly your situation with your baby mom, but how, you know, she was miserable and she wanted to be out of it, but she thought about cheating. She should have just walked away.
Yeah, well, that's what I said for me. I should have just did it, but I was trying to, I don't know if it was to please everybody else, and you know what I mean, not seem like I was cutting out on her because she was pregnant or something, so I stood in it, but I made it ugly, so you know what I mean, and I should have just left because it ended ugly anyway, so.
Yeah, I get it.
But like I was saying earlier, but there are two sides to the coin, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that there's parts of it that we don't know. But then the way you were saying about his apology and stuff, it's like he was apologizing, acknowledging the stuff she did, but he wasn't acknowledging how happy he was with her or anything good about her other than the materialistic thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a gold digger. Just kidding. But seriously, right? I mean, kind of. I guess I don't know.
That's what made my nephew ask about the thing. Like, was he messaging her because he was like, fuck, I fucked up getting my monthly packages and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what brought up when I said, I told you, like, the only reason why I want you to be with me and stay with me is because you love me, not because I do things for you.
Thank you, Stella, for the happy birthday message. I'll definitely pass the love on to my little
Yeah,
dude.
I told her.
What?
Stella just said happy birthday
Yeah.
to nephew.
Yeah, I was just thanking her for the happy birthday love.
Alright. Well, then, my boy just got a breakup too. What's up, baby M? And I don't know what the issue is there, but they can always call in and share their breakup. But my wife's like, everybody's getting their breakups right now during the holidays. I don't know if that's a thing during the holidays, but breakups are breakups for me.
I think sometimes the holidays make things so much fucking harder for everybody because it's more stress. You know what I mean?
It is more stress.
It should be happy times, and lately it's like,
yeah, it's like it is stressful. It's all based in do this, do that, rush around, do this, buy this for
Come
that
up with
person.
money.
Like come up with the
Yeah.
money. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, it's a stress. I didn't want to ask though, like just out of genuine curiosity, like how many of your friends in there like kind of know that, like that you're on this program, like it's kind of like its own thing, like it's like a show kind of, and you can.
Oh yeah.
What do they think?
Everybody knows. They always ask me about it. Like right now, they're like, "Are you podcasting?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm podcasting right now.
But I'll look back to back on the evening times.
Cool, man. Cool. So they're kind of like, okay, cool. Like they probably play it cool, right? They're like, oh, cool. Not to.
Yeah, and then I had somebody that had left write me and ask me, "Hey, what's your wife's podcast?"
That's cool, man. Yeah. So they're curious. They want to know.
For a short time, Colorado had started this radio station, Inside Wire, through Denver University, but it got canceled, and I guess DJ'd on there a few times, so a lot of guys got to hear me on there too.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. Okay, so this is not your first rodeo.
no, my honey loves the limelight.
That's cool. That's super cool. Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask too, not to like detract too much from the main topic at hand, but before we went live, I wanted to ask, because there's a video game program. I didn't realize. I got to be honest. Before you said that, I didn't know there was video game programs in there. And as an active video game lover, like I played video games since I was a little kid. That like just made me happy because they bring me so much happiness. That's cool that you played. You said Call of Duty and Horizon Zero Dawn. Like that. Those are two.
Yeah,
I love Horizon Zero Dawn, bro.
Well, I'll give you a little background. So, like in Colorado, they got these units called incentive units. So, like if you're staying out of trouble and stuff, you can earn your way to go over there, and you can get an Xbox or a PlayStation or a DVD player and stuff. They got couches and stuff in there. And Lyman had one, and I was over there for a couple years. And initially, I didn't play video games because I never grew up doing that. That's never been my thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I got into playing the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4, and I had to get used to it. And then I started actually getting pretty good. So there was a game I played, Skyrim. Skyrim was like I got hooked on it, and then I started playing other games. Call of Duty, and then I played Halo Wars and just different stuff like that. I was just testing different games that I liked, and but the PlayStation, their graphics are so cool. Like like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh my god, that game's so tight.
I'm trying really. I'm trying really hard not to nerd out, bro, because I agree. Everything you're saying, I'm like you're preaching to the choir right now. You know what I mean?
And I don't know shit you're talking about.
Yeah.
I tell your aunt, I'll be like, look, I'm not a lover or a fighter. I'm a gamer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't.
I got in trouble a few times because she scheduled video visits, right? And the video visit started, and I'm over there stuck playing video games. Because when we used to play Call of Duty, we used to play multiple guys play the same game, and we're getting each other, and you get so entranced in it. And
Yeah.
I got a few more seconds. Let me hit this corner and hit this guy.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, somebody's like, they're like, Greyhound, you gotta visit. And I'm like, oh shit.
And they're like, she looks pissed, dude. And I'm sitting there fucking mad.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's because, so the way that the video visits are set up, like they can see me. I can't see who's, like, they can be out to the side. Everybody's staring at me. I don't know who it is. So I get like paranoid, and I'm sitting there like,
What's
where's
going
my
on?
husband?
Yeah.
So I tell him, don't fucking do that to me. Like, you know what time you're the one that picks those times,
Yeah.
dude.
It was.
But I got a couple of them where they're like, she looks pissed at you,
You know
dude.
your business is going to start in 10, 15 minutes. And so when you get on the game, before you know it, you think it's only going to take a couple seconds. Let me just get to this little level real quick. I'll get there real quick.
Yeah.
You know, 30 minutes later,
Yep.
I'm still going.
Yeah, time flies way too fast when you're playing games. I completely agree to that. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. So, was that the most recent one you played? Like, you named Call of Duty and Horizon Zero Dawn.
And Horizon Forbidden West, because I had beat Zero Dawn.
Okay, so you did beat. So you know the story. So I was gonna ask, do you have to share a save file, or like, is it your save file? Your save file, like
Yeah,
you.
so we got our own so like in Lyman, we had the video games out in the pod, right? And
Okay.
none of us had time on each game systems. So we have our own profiles and stuff, and I got my own games saved on my own profile. So everybody has their own profile and stuff like that. Now over here in Arkansas Valley, they give you a game system to have in yourself. So you have an individual game system, so you'll be able to have your own profile set up within that you have within your cell. You know what I mean?
So your save is safe. You don't have to worry about somebody fucking up your progress or backtracking on you or
You
whatever.
don't have to worry about none of that.
That's awesome. That's cool.
One of these days, you guys can sit here and make your own little
Oh, we will.
live about
Oh, we
games.
will. It's unfortunate because in the state of Colorado, I'm already on my uncle's visitation list. So if they had the ability to go like just visit more than just one person in the DOC, I would, and we would just talk video games the whole time, brother. You know what I mean? Because it's like that for me. It's like that for all of us who grew up like that.
It's crazy because that's what when everyone checks out on me because they hear that I play video games because it's something I've never done. I didn't grow up being able to play games or do nothing like that, and I was involved in other stuff. So when I finally got into it, I was like, man, they should get that to us in the joint because it's like really therapeutic and like it literally makes the time go by.
It's a medium. It's no different than books, man. I know you're a bookworm too, so it's no different than books where it can take you to another world, man. It really can.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said playing a video game is like reading a book. It takes you somewhere else.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
That's how that Skyrim was because it's an open world and you can move
Yeah.
around and stuff. Same thing with Assassin's Creed. You can move around like that, and that's what I like. Same thing with Horizon. You can move around from different spots and go all over and just continue to play. You don't have to just play the storyline. You can play outside of the storyline.
So does everyone generally play? Does everyone play the games, or is it kind of just like like a couple guys or whatever?
No, you got a lot of guys that are playing. So like in Lyman, they had like 6 systems in each pod, and there's 3 pods in each, and sometimes there'd be about 8 of us playing Call of Duty at one time against each other. You know what I mean?
What?
So
Oh, that's cool.
You can system link.
Everyone should have a console then.
So we had the thing called in the streets.
We'd be fighting.
On Call of Duty, you got guys that be sniping. They be hiding and sniping and
That's
stuff.
so-
And then we got what we call in the streets, where you just be out there face to face trying to shoot each other faster than the next person.
Yeah, like free for all. That's a free for all.
He would call me, and I'm like, what are you doing?
That's all we would do. Or
So-
we would do teams, or we'd just do shields and pistols, or
Hey,
we'd come
babe.
up with our own little rules.
And he goes, and we would be fighting.
So he would call me.
It was pretty cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds awesome, dude. It
But
really
listen,
sounds
babe.
awesome.
So everybody out here knows that being in the streets means something different, right? So my husband would call me and I was like, what were you doing, Mike? What the fuck took you so long? Like, what were you doing? He's like, I was in the streets, Dave. And I'm like, fucking stop saying that. In the streets out here means something fucking different.
Women take it to a whole nother level.
Oh, I was gonna say I would have been like, oh, dope. Did you win first place? I was
No,
with
he
the
wouldn't
fellas.
say all that. He'd be like, I was in the streets. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you mean you were in the streets?
I was on a seven-man kill streak, and I had to get the aircraft so I could,
I had a gold P90 with extended clips on.
he's really talking my language right now. This is great. Yeah.
Hey, we were
That's
talking
awesome.
about cheating. You guys went into like an hour worth of fucking.
Cheating applies to video games too. Some people do like hacks and bullshit. So
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
it's
shut up.
cheating.
You guys are stupid. Petunia said, I'm guessing that's happy birthday. And then, hi, babe. Tell your aunt hi.
Oh
I
yeah.
love you. But that's so she would be jealous of that. So if I was cheating, it was with Call of Duty.
That's awesome. The gold P90 with extended clips was crazy. That was crazy, bro. That was awesome.
You get all right. I know what
That
you're
was
talking
cool.
about.
I knew exactly what he was talking about too. That it's pretty much that's like that'll just melt somebody.
Do you see how easy it is to get off topic?
It is easy to get off topic, but that's a good reason to get off topic.
Yeah,
She said, love you, babe.
That's a good one, and I still my guns up.
Babe. She said, love you.
Uh,
You guys are ridiculous, dude.
He's like,
it's
we're
being
mid
in the room with
conversation.
your kids, because
I'm
he's basically
literally in
my
the next
son,
room.
and
Yeah,
my other
literally.
son is
Yeah,
in the
he's
other
right
room.
in there. So I could.
They'll talk.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I'm in that mind state right now to be like, oh yeah, bro. So anyway, so where you at with the new God of War or whatever, you know?
oh yeah, God of War was tight too.
Did you play that? You played God of
They
War?
had just-
Oh shit! Oh man.
They had just got Ragnarok when I was there. That's pretty tight too.
Yeah.
The graphics on there are so tight.
Yeah, I've been playing that. I have a PS5, and then I got my I was showing Joseph earlier. I got my TV. It's a 50-inch, but I got a TV like on a swivel mount. So I pull my mount out closer to my television or to my couch. So my television is like 2 feet closer than it already is, which is like 4 feet away. So it's like 2 feet away, and I got these 4K graphics in front of my face. So yeah, it's
And then they wonder why they need glasses.
I played like on a big old 46-inch screen. Maybe we're just sitting right in front of it, so it's like, you know what I mean?
it's like that. Yeah. Oh man,
Right in front of it.
you're really
She
appreciating the
said,
quality.
Yogurt, welcome.
Yogurt, welcome. Thank you, Petunia. I'll definitely pass the birthday love along. Yep.
So I'll see if my kids want to come and at least say hi so everybody can see them. Do you mind your daughter if she wants to? Big?
I don't mind.
Text them nephew and see. I'll go see if they want to come in here and say hi to everybody.
I'll go ask them real quick.
So you guys might be able to at least see our daughter and my son. My other son, if you will. So we were laughing, babe, because I haven't met nearly side of the family, like all of them, you know what I mean? And they were here and they were trying to explain me to them. They're like, this is Alex's aunt mom. I was like, we sound like some motherfucking hillbillies. Like, that's my nephew's son. You know what I mean? Like, he's technically my nephew, but he lived with me for a lot of years, back and forth. He's always been around. Like, that was one of my first babies when I was a baby. You know what I mean? I had him with me all the time. So that's why I say that. But I've had him a good chunk of his life. And him and my son, they're cousins. So they grew up together like brothers. But it sounds funny when you say that because she's trying to explain. She's like, that's his aunt mom. Yeah. Then my son's here too, and they're like, that's his brother cousin. I'm like, this sounds like some hillbilly shit. Like we're from somewhere deep in the fucking mountains or something.
I got to meet him. Got to meet him at visit.
Yeah. And we got to take pictures. So I do have a picture. I don't think I posted that one at all anywhere, babe. I'll see if my nephew, well, since he's been on here, everybody's seen him, so I'm sure he'll be okay with me posting it. Okay, here comes my babies.
Yeah.
Here comes
Yeah,
our
they're here.
babies.
Like I said, I grew up playing video games with Taya and with Joseph like on a daily, so they're gonna come say hi.
So this is my son. He's my oldest, and this is mine and Greyhound's daughter. She's our baby. My jelly bean. See how you got his right way? Okay, we just wanted you to say hi to everybody. So everybody gets to meet my kids. I'm only missing one. She's at the Nuggets game right now.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, you guys
Yeah,
can go right now.
Cool as shit.
Are you gonna try to call right back, baby?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't see nobody right here, so I'm not doing no phone.
All right, cool.
All right, I
I'll
love you.
talk to you soon then, bro.
You guys get into the gaming.
Yeah,
That's
hey
so
man,
cool.
that was a big deal. That was like an egg to be cracked because I was like, oh, cool, like, there's like, like guy stuff, but
Oh
then the
my
video
God.
games, like, all right, you opened up a whole new can of worms with that one,
Well,
like,
prisons changed over the years. Like, there's things that they're doing now that I've never even seen or heard of before.
would you do virtual reality if they introduced it to a facility you were in?
You said what?
Would you do Skyrim in virtual reality? So, if you like swing your fist or you're swinging your arm, you're slicing a soldier on the on the road or whatever. Would you do it?
Hell yeah.
If they let us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
That's what kind of trips me out.
He's
Yeah, he'll call right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
They got
Oh,
out.
he
We're
would freak
talking
out.
about cheating.
Huh?
He would freak out though.
He would freak in a good way. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Your mom was saying we were talking about cheating and we turned into this fucking video game.
Well, see that's what
This
kind
is
of
business.
surprises me though.
What?
Well, since they have such, I guess,
Technical
weird
capabilities?
restrictions on like movies and media and shit that they can end up watching, so like,
That's what I
But they
said
can
because
play
of the
Skyrim.
games that they play.
Yeah,
Like, he
which-
can't watch certain movies. Like, so
Yeah.
for instance, he couldn't see Yellowstone here because there was a rape scene. You know what I mean? But
Oh my god.
you can have, and they don't, you know what I mean? If anybody's watched Yellowstone, you know what the scene is that they're talking about. But there wasn't actually something shown, you know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But they let them have these violent video games.
You should come say hi too if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
Hi,
introducing all my
everybody.
kids. This is my nephew's wife.
Hi.
Isn't that Ellie?
Hello. What is the topic?
Cheating, but it turned into
Cheating,
fucking
but
video
it turned
games.
into video game. Oh, you could.
Oh
I mean,
my goodness.
honestly,
Hold on, babe.
I do want to go smoke a cigarette. So you and my
Okay.
auntie could probably after
Honey.
in a minute. You guys can
Okay.
control that.
Yeah, come on, Mary. We'll get your
officially, I
opinion.
guess. Yeah.
So the
Sweet.
kids are going outside to smoke their vapes.
I will. Nicotine, but we will be back to ask you about video games and all the VR capability stuff. But I think my auntie wants to get back into the main topic of the stream.
Meat of the video.
How many times have this topic been brought up?
It hasn't.
This is the first time?
Yeah, but we've talked about it here and there. So what is your take on cheating?
Oh man. I mean, it's completely wrong. It's completely morally wrong. And it's, I feel like some people say like, well, I had certain needs to be met or things like that. But there's always like a proper way to just end the relationship first and not have to do that to the other person. So that's kind of my take. I feel like people do have their like excuses or reasons, but it's never justified. You can always break it off first and just be upfront with that person, in opposed to letting them down or any other people that you may have developed a bond with, you know, like if they had a child or their parents or just their family in general. Like it's just easier to let that person off the hook and then go on with your life, and opposed to cheating. So that would be my overall stance. Yeah. What is your hubby's view?
What is your view, babe,
Well,
on cheating?
I'm saying it. I told you on my part, but I feel like the emotional thing. If you got somebody that you're talking to about stuff, even if you have problems in your relationship, and you're talking to somebody, and I'm talking about the other sex. So if you're talking to another man about, oh yeah, we're going through this, and you're leaning on that person's shoulder.
Stuff you'd usually confide with your partner.
You're sharing all these things with that person, then that's a problem. Even if, let's say, it started innocently, but you should be able to talk to that with your partner. You know what I mean? That's how I told you about THC. Trust, honesty, communication. You got to be able to trust that person enough to be honest with them and communicate about whatever, whether it's good or bad. And like I said, it's better to be hurt by the truth than devastated by a lie. So the fact that you got to talk to somebody else but me, then there's a problem. There's already a problem. You know what I mean?
So we
Yeah.
kind of left off on that, babe, where we were saying like, when you hung up the very, very first time, where
Yeah.
if you can't tell me what you said to some other chick, then you already know you were in the wrong. I tell the kids that all the time. Like, the kids are open with me and they tell me everything. Like, the kids have told me some like stuff, you know what I mean? And I always tell Savannah, because when we get into it, I'm like, if you have to hide it from me, you can't tell me about it, you already know it's wrong. So if
Yeah.
I'm talking to somebody else, or if I do something and I can't tell you about it, I know I'm wrong. Like, I shouldn't be doing that.
And I like I tell you, we're a mirror. So what you do, I do. So if you can't see me doing that, and why is it okay for you to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what they would call like emotional cheating, because some people like to think like, well, if there was nothing physical, I'm off the hook, like clean conscious type of thing. But there is still such a thing as emotional cheating, where you're sharing intimate things that you should usually only share with your partner. So that's.
And I think that for me, I mean, she's cheating, but for me, I kind of prefer the physical than have somebody cheat up emotionally, because I feel like the emotional is much deeper and stronger than the physical. You know what I mean? Because like,
Right.
there's people who had one night stand, never thought about the person ever again. It's just something that happened. They scratched a quick itch, whatever. But emotional, that's deeper. That's within that person. Now you're sitting there thinking about that person. You're feeling for that person. You know what I mean? And you're consumed by that person. You know what I mean? Emotionally. So that for me, it seems like that's more deeper. You know what I mean? And it's just as bad.
So Nearly hasn't been on here or seen that before, but I talked about that because, like, as what they call as prison wives, like, we get shit because we're always like, people will tell us, well, what are you worried about? He's in prison. How can he cheat on you? You know what I mean? And I brought that up because I'm like, that's worse for me too emotional, because if he was reaching out to some other bitch, telling her about, you know, his past or how he feels or stuff about us, like, that hurts me worse than it would if he just boned somebody. Like, don't get me wrong, that would hurt too.
Right.
But the emotional part is worse for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should only be talking to me, and he talked about boundaries. Like, you know, there's boundaries you shouldn't be crossing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is very, very true.
So all this came up because one of the other prison wives, if you will, she just got cheated on, and she was doing the most for her husband.
No.
Yeah.
And he was messaging and talking to somebody else. Oh, that's terrible.
She was coming from another state, like, monthly, to go see him and make sure he had packages every month, and doing the most for him, helping his friends find love on the internet. You know what I mean?
So
and then he does
was
her
she
dirty.
closer to him, and would she visit him and stuff?
She was visiting once a month, and they went to different states.
And what about the girl that
I don't
he
know.
started talking to?
I don't
Wow.
know. I don't know nothing about that girl. I just know that, you know, from the messages, she was like, he's begging her back, saying that he's sorry he embarrassed her and shit.
Wow.
And he was asking for her back, and she's just like, I'm not going back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. She's like telling the other girl, like, come get your prize, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, she said sis, but you know what sis means.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there you go.
You can have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what brought this up, because, you know, me and my husband talking, I'm like, he knows how that I would feel if that ever happened between us. Because at that point, you know, we've talked about this to death, so he knows how bad it would hurt me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, at that point, it's not an accident. It's not something that accidentally happened. Like, you made a fucking choice to do that.
So, what would be something on the opposite spectrum for you, Gerard, that would be like crossing of a boundary with Naomi, you know, like out here?
So like for me, like I was saying earlier, so like there's certain conversations that, so there's boundaries. There's boundaries in a relationship. There's boundaries that you don't cross.
Yeah.
There's things like, so for example, she and I watch shows like Temptation Island, right? Where these couples, they have these issues, so they go on this island to go get tempted by other people, right?
Right.
And they're sitting there complaining about what the other person is doing, but what they're doing is just as bad. So, like, for example, in a conversation in one of these episodes was the female starts talking about, they start talking about sex. They talk about sexual positions and what's her favorite, and she starts talking about it, why she likes it, this and that. And that's cool in a certain conversation with certain people, but you got a bunch of guys that are trying to hook up with you. You know what I mean? So therefore,
Right.
you're sharing an intimate part about you with these guys when you're in a whole relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? Talking about, I love this individual, I'm faithful to this person. So why are you sharing something personal about yourself to these guys that should only be reserved for that person that you're allowing to know that part of you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that should not be allowed. So like there's another thing. I don't have no problem with my wife having male friends, but again, there's boundaries. So like when you come to our home, you don't get to come and hang out in my bedroom. My bedroom is a boundary. You don't get to cross them boundaries. You don't get to come to that area of my house. You know what I mean? So there should be no reason that another man should be in my bedroom. Period. You know what I mean?
Regardless.
So,
Yeah.
But you can't say, oh, I didn't know this and that, because you wouldn't be happy to come home and find my friend, you know, in our bedroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it goes the same way. I wouldn't want no man in that area with you either. You know what I mean? That's a part that's a boundary. That's a part that you're not allowed to go to. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how long you knew this person or whatever, but still, there's still boundaries. There's where you set these limits, because when you start allowing those limits to be crossed, then what becomes sacred in your relationship?
Yeah. Yeah. Even with you being right, like in Ordway, it still applies to every relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so here's my other thing is, like, for example, if you know that when you drink, you act a certain way, then there's no reason for you to go drinking around certain people if there's a possibility you can start acting a certain way. You know what I mean? And I all I mean is because some people get inebriated to the point to where they don't remember this and that, but then you're with all these individuals, and there's having people out there. It doesn't matter whether you're drunk or not. They're still gonna tell you. Me and Naomi talk about this all the time. There's people, they don't care if you're in a relationship. They don't care if you got a ring on
there
your
are
finger
people
or
like that.
nothing. If you're willing to cross that line with them, they're going for it. You know what I mean?
They're gonna dance. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you put yourself in a position, knowing that those type of things can happen, then that's the boundaries that you're crossing. So those are the boundaries that I think that should not be crossed, and there's no excuses for them. You know what I mean? So we get out there and we discuss these things. Like, I don't follow girls' night, go do your thing, have your fun. You know what I mean? Just be straight up to me about what's going on. You know what I mean? You know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. I don't need to hold your hand and hover over you and be controlling or anything like that. But all I say is flip it around. If I was out with the fellas and we're having boys' night, what would you be okay with me doing? And that's the same thing I want you to be able to do.
Nearly had to go. The baby was crying, baby. She just had to walk out. But I get what you're saying, because we do talk. I said nearly had to go to the other room because the baby woke up crying. Alexander. But I get it. That's why I tell you too, like, I don't like to open those doors. Like, I don't put myself in certain situations because I don't want to open that door. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And that's what we talk about with, like, social media stuff, right? So, like, if somebody sends me a friend request, I tell my husband. You know what I mean? Like, so-and-so sent me a friend request, or you know. What, babe?
I was just thinking about stuff that you told me.
Well, what? Tell me.
Where somebody is trying to hook up, even though they know that I was married to you.
Yeah. So, yeah, he got a message, you know, not from somebody he was friends with, but just a random bitch. And she was like, you called him sexy and shit. And I was like, you know, bitch didn't realize that you're talking to his wife. So I wasn't rude or nothing. I was like, yeah, I'm married. And she was like, oh, yeah, I seen it. You're married to Naomi. And I'm like, bitch, this is his wife. Like, are you fucking dumb? And she's like, oh, well, do you want to be friends? Like, what the absolute fuck? You know what I mean? So it made me mad because I'm like, and I tell him that. That's why when my nephew brings up the whole phone thing, like, my husband asked me, you know, if he came home right now, would he be able to touch my phone? Absolutely. He would have the codes to everything. I mean, he does now, but he would have access to everything. Like, If you want to take my phone with you for a day or 2 days or 3 days, do you, boo? Like, I'm not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
But it happens.
It does happen.
So,
It happens both ways. That's why I told him, because I do believe my husband's gonna come home to me one day. Like, when that happens, we're gonna have access to each other's phones. Not that I don't trust you, but why wouldn't? Like, what would be the reason to not have it? You know what I mean? I'm not hiding nothing. You're not hiding nothing. So, you know, if I happen to pick up my husband's phone to do something, cool. It shouldn't be an issue. You know, and I can't stand that when people try to be like, oh, well, that's my own privacy. Okay, well, what are you hiding? That's your husband or that's your wife. What, you know what I mean? You guys are supposed to share everything. And if you're not allowing them to touch your phone or be on your social media, it's because you're hiding something. You know what I mean? And at that point, if you're hiding something, just walk away. Have that conversation with them. Tell them you're not happy and leave. Oh no, that's just my feeling and my thoughts about it.
I agree to some point, but then there's got to be a point to where you got to trust the other person too.
But that's what I'm saying, though, babe.
You can't be hovering and
But that's not what I'm saying.
And, where you going? I'm going to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, what?
You always like to be so extra. You always like to be so extra. He's always giving me shit because I'll ask him questions. That's not what I'm talking about. So, like, it's not like it's the same thing with your daughter. Remember when she got mad about me having her location? I never checked my daughter. Like, I wasn't on there all day, every day. Like, where's she at? What is she doing? The only time I ever checked her location was if she's like, Mom, I'm on my way home. I'm like 20 minutes out. And then all of a sudden 2 hours go by. Where the fuck is my kid? You know what I mean? Then I would check her location. Like, is she okay? Instead of calling her and being like, where are you? Where are you? I simply looked at her location. She's stuck on I-25. All right, bet. I see her move a little bit. I'll get off. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying with the phones. Like, my husband would have all access to my stuff. I don't expect him to be on my phone all day, like scrolling through everything. I wouldn't be doing that to him, but there's no reason for him not to have all the access to it.
I'll just be like, when you're sweating, like, what are you doing on your phone? I'll be like, I'm gaming with Alex.
Oh my God. Then I'll call my nephew and be like, are you gaming with that? Just kidding. They're ridiculous, dude.
They're so funny.
So anything else about cheating? Anybody have questions or comments, concerns? Agree, disagree with what we're saying? My nephew brought up a good point where he's saying people find different degrees of cheating. Like, for me, if you were home watching porn, like, I wouldn't feel like you're cheating on me. But I know a lot of girls flip the fuck out and they're like, oh my God.
I think it's normal.
I get that to some degree if they're like consumed with it or something, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it's like a weird session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like every day.
Like if I had never thought about it in that context, but then when he had brought it up, and then I started thinking about it on my wall, I could see that if you come home and all I'm doing, and that's basically all I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like every time it's something that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like on my days, I'm not even playing video games or talking to somebody or nothing. I'm watching porn constantly. Like, you know what I mean? What's the purpose for it? You know what I mean?
That's like a weird addiction.
I can see that being an issue. You know what I mean? Like
That's like something deeper rooted. Yeah.
That person is becoming obsessed with that. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
There's financial cheating too. And it's something me and my friend talked about once. Like, because there are couples who just got mad guap or whatever who don't, and you go buy something pricey, or you have this habit of like using credit cards or whatever. So some people do think of financial things that you might do behind your partner's back as like financial cheating.
I never thought of that. Have you thought of that, babe?
Yeah. Yeah, my friend Jennifer pointed that out to me. She's like, I mean, if say your wife or husband goes out and buys a flat screen without your consent, or they go buy something huge for the house or new furniture or
So
something.
extravagant purchases.
Yeah, extravagant purchases. Obviously, if Alex goes and buys like, a new charger or something, I'm not gonna flip out.
Yeah.
But if it was like constant video games or constant stuff for, like stuff like that, I would start to be like, whoa, this is eating into our finances, So that's another one I have thought of, kind of like
That's
that's
a good one,
interesting.
'cause I've
That's
never thought of that.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of that, babe?
Well,
Financial cheating?
I was just thinking about it right now, and we know somebody where they were fighting over somebody putting money into their car, remember?
Yeah.
And that was causing issues. Now, I don't know if that's the underlying issue of their problems, but I know that was a problem. And my only thing would be, like, I could see it being a problem if, the bills weren't getting paid or something like that. And
Yeah.
all I'm doing is hooking up my lowrider and this and that, but I'm neglecting my other responsibilities. I can see that. But if that wasn't the case, then I wouldn't know what the problem would be.
So it's funny that you said that, because I know who you're talking about, but there was somebody else that had the same situation where her husband got mad for, purchasing things for the car that was needed, and it started a fight. And it was like, what the fuck, dude? That's shit that she actually needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I never thought about it like that, like financial cheating. But I guess to some degree, I guess there could be that. But then,
Or like, say one of the partners has like a gambling problem.
about something.
I didn't think of that either, like a gambling problem, cheating.
Oh yeah.
Or that could be something interesting too, some people just have like an addiction, and that is consumed more so in the relationship, and that leaves the other person feeling like, wow, like you don't give a fuck.
So I never thought about that, but I think, at a point in my life, I was spending a lot of money, dude, because I felt like that would make me feel better about myself, if you will. So I was like buying shit that I shouldn't have been buying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you came to the house, you see stuff, and it's like, everybody's like, oh, Auntie's bougie or Nay's bougie and all this, but there was an issue because, like, I would spend money to feel better. Like, I even noticed that now, like, after I had the surgery and shit, I used to eat a lot because that would make me feel better, like comfort, you know what I mean?
Right.
And after that, it was like, well, even during that time too, like, I would spend money just to fucking spend money because it made me feel better. So I never realized that was a problem until it was pointed out to me. And I'm like, even now when I spend money, I'm like, am I doing it because I really need it? Or there's a lot of times where I catch myself and I'm like, I'm doing it just to make myself feel better. Like, I really don't need all this shit.
Just for like the little serotonin boost.
Yes.
And then it's temporary. Yeah.
And it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy. I think we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. I didn't even give my husband a chance. We'll give him a couple minutes so he can say goodnight to everybody. But we're already over an hour and 15 minutes. Or an hour and 13 minutes? Yeah, see. And I got
It's a good long podcast.
I still got a 2.5 hour drive home, so.
Wow. Oh yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, like, I was telling my daughter, I don't know about you guys, but when it gets dark for some reason, it makes it harder for me to drive. Like, I want to fall asleep. So
See, for me, I just get like tunnel vision on the highway. Like, it's hard for my eyes to do it at night.
It's weird at night, dude. I just want to sleep. Like, it's natural, like, melatonin.
Just balls you to sleep.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm gonna pass out. Shit.
I got 2.5 hours to get home.
Yeah.
I gotta stop and get me an energy drink. So I don't think he's gonna be able to call back right away, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next weekend.
It's nice for all of us to stream with you guys.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Married lifers. Have a good evening and week.